Welcome back. Thank you for joining me for another video. I'm looking forward to this one. Today, in this build, we are going to make a Christmas tree. Hi, I'm Dom, and welcome to my grotto. Wendy, up. Good girl. I'm not sure you should be allowed in this episode. With no Christmas jumper, you leave my mince pies alone. The replies and the feedback from all the other videos have been so good. It's really, really nice to hear. So it spurred me on to go rummaging around in the skips and see what else I can find and see what else I can encourage you and inspire you guys to have a go and make. These are actually old bed slats. I do like having real Christmas trees, but they take 15 years sometimes, 10, 15 years to grow, to be chopped down and then just left to die in your house. It's just, there's something a bit sad about that. So I thought if we make a Christmas tree out of some wood, fold down flat pack, so you can put it in the loft and store it until next year, and it can come out every year, pride of place. I've got a piece of threaded rod that I found. So I think that is going to really govern the height of my Christmas tree. That mixed with the fact that I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planks of wood. So it's really just trying to work out the most efficient, economical way of making this Christmas tree. Slats of wood like this, perfectly nice and plain. You can buy them obviously from timber yards and builders merchants or B&Q or somewhere. This could well be pallet wood, that would work just as well. Old fence panels. They're going to end up on their end like that, with a hole drilled through them in the middle, stacked up like that. If you're using pallet wood or any old reclaimed wood, the best bit of advice I can give you is spend some time at the start and make sure you remove any staples and nails and screws. I've got around 1 million staples in here, bits of webbing, there's a big screw sticking out there. The last thing you want is to run through this with a saw, even a hand saw, just to hit any metal, because it's just going to blunt your saw and you'll have a terrible day. Right, I better get some tools. Why would there be a screw right in the middle of a bed slab? All right, number 1 out. Two down. This is a bit of a brain test. I'm just laying everything out now. This tree is supposed to be made of lots of thin bits of batten. These are too fat, they're too thick that way. So I need to cut them in half, almost like a kebab. We're going to sort of stack them all up on end and then spin them round, and they'll make a really lovely 3D shape of a tree. Problem is I want to have more than 5 steps. So the best thing to do is to cut these lengthways all the way down, and then I'll have 10. Perfect. Okay, there we go. I know I did that on the bandsaw that you may not have, but you may not need to cut the pieces of wood. If you've already got bits of wood this size, you're onto a winner. The nature of using reclaimed wood is nothing. It's actually straight. It's all twisted and bent and distorted. We're not striving for perfection with this. We are just trying to make a Christmas tree. The character in the wood is lovely. The fact that it's old. At the moment, this has not cost me a penny. I literally found these in a skip, and this I had lying in the corner of the workshop. With anything symmetrical, it usually starts working from the middle out. So I've worked out the height of my Christmas tree with this threaded rod, allowing a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom for a foot, and for the top, for a nut on the top. 60 centimeters is the widest part, the base of the tree. So I'm going to mark that one and cut that one first. So I will get 30 centimeters in. I'll start with a center line, and that's going to be the key reference point for everything. So everything else is going to come out from that central mark. I've got my jigsaw. You could use a hand saw for this, whatever you need. Right, so this is the first piece of my Christmas tree. Yes, that's the width of it. That's how the size of it's going to be. Done. Let's number this. Number 1, and a little arrow facing up. Perfect. And that is going in the offcuts pile, not in the fire. I've roughly cut all of my planks, so I know that they're big enough because I've got my 60 centimeters, so I know how roughly what shape the tree is going to be. Lay all of your planks out on the table from start to finish, the widest bottom to the skinny bit at the top. The very top tier of my Christmas tree is going to be 10 centimeters. Center of that, and then line that up with the center. Perfect. Then I can just work from there, and I can go from the point of the smallest section to the point of the longest section, and join the dots, draw a line from one to the other, and that's going to give me where to cut the tree. There you go, there you can see my 2 diagonals, there's the tree shape. So you have your center line and then the 2 angled cuts. You just need to cut those out. Make sure you number them, take one at a time, cut those angled cuts and lay them back down on the table. Good, you see, we made a tree. So we've got the smallest one at the top, biggest one at the bottom. It all comes from this central point. Okay, I'm very pleased to say that this is starting to look like a Christmas tree. This is quite an important part because we want to make sure that the tree stands nice and straight. And the only way we're going to get that is by making sure that these holes are drilled perfectly straight, or as straight as you can. But Screwfix and other places have combination squares, super cheap, and they're really, really helpful. When you need to draw a line 90 degrees across a piece of wood, this is so helpful because we want to transfer this line on the front face onto the top. Instead of just kind of eyeballing it and guessing, we can actually lay this on there, like that, and then transfer it across. Holes are drilled. Start with a smaller hole first. That's called a pilot hole. Very small drill bit, 2-3 mil, something like that. It just gives you a hole through the wood that's nice and easy to drill because it's very small, straight through. And then when you step up to a larger drill bit, go up in increments to, you know, like 3 mil, 6 mil, then 8 mil, work your way up. And then you're not trying to force a massive drill bit through a solid piece of wood. It's actually got a hole and a void to guide it through. Yes. There we go. Before I get carried away and start to install all of the pieces of wood on the threaded rod, they all need a sand. But that's enough of that. This is essentially it's like a bolt, threaded like a bolt, but it's just open on each end. It's just threaded all the way along. And this is going to be just like a kebab. Just going to slide on all of our pieces. That's it, last one. There we go. At least my tree is all together. Now you can see why it's important. See why it's important to get those holes in the middle so you get everything sitting nice and straight. We can quite simply just get a couple of nuts, put one on each end, and they'll hold them in position. See, it's got that little piece of blue in there. That's called a nylock. As the bolt goes through, it cuts the thread into that nylon, the blue bit, and it almost glues it in place, and it holds it in place so it can't work its way undone. So I'm going to put that one on the top and one of these normal ones on the bottom. The nylocks are a very good way, but they're very modern, and quite a traditional old-fashioned way of doing it is locking two nuts together, which is what I've done down the bottom here. And as I'm doing that nut up, it is squeezing all the planks of wood together. They're all squidging up nice and tight together. Then I can screw on the second nut, and as I screw that in, I'll use two spanners and actually lock it against the first nut. So I'm holding the first nut still with the first spanner and then doing the second nut up to it. And that way they lock together, so there's no way that they can work their way loose. It's feeling nice and stable. It looks good. But that, unfortunately, is not going to stand up like that. So we need a base. Just, again, random offcuts that I found. This joint is going to allow these to slot together and become flush with each other. And then when you're finished and it's January and you're hungover and you've got to go back to work, you can take it, undo the nut on the bottom, slide it out, take it out, flip them like that, store it all flat, and it would literally take up no space at all, up in a loft, in a cupboard somewhere. You could slide it in anywhere. This is terrible. Picking a piece with a knot right in the middle is not ideal. They've both got a knot right in the middle, but I've started with my all-important center line. That's this one. And then I've measured the thickness of this piece of wood. You can lay it over the top, over the center, mark down each side, and then all you need to do is remove that section. Wendy is not interested in learning about lap joints. Let's hope that you are. My two pieces of wood, a notch cut out of the center, so hopefully they should slot together, and then I can slot that on the end of the threaded rod. Oh, yes. With no glue, it's really firm, really stiff, and the hole goes all the way through. And then the tree, with a little bit of threaded rod sticking out the end, should slot straight in there. Yes, there you go. It's good, isn't it? You like learning about the lap joints? You like the Christmas tree? Yeah. You like it? You like the Christmas tree? Hang on a second, Wendy. She's trying to tell us every tree needs a star on top, doesn't it? One completely sustainable, upcycled Christmas tree. Thank you very much for watching. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time.